welcome to this is going to be a nice, fun edition of Diving In with Josh. It's something that I've said from the start I wanted to talk about. I needed the right person to do it with, and I'll let this lovely lady do her introduction herself and tell her who she is. But we've been chatting for months on Twitter now, it seems, and this is the first time we're ever talking. Hearing each other's voices. So it's nice to finally talk to this wonderful person. But introduce the world to who you are and how we kind of got connected.
Well, my name is Courtney Summers, aka Switch Babe. Yes, it's a Jay White reference. And me and Josh kind of got connected through Twitter and just chatting about wrestling and like for me personally, like I admire your positivity because there is a lot of positivity lacking, especially in wrestling Twitter.
Yeah.
So like anytime I meet someone that's like positive and they want to see the good in things and they want to see what's good for everyone, that to me is amazing. I'm like, okay, you just made a friend for life, dude.
Oh, well, I appreciate the kind words. I didn't honestly realize I was that type of person until I got in this weird Twitter world, and I was like, why does everything have to be so just dark and negative on everything? No one can ever just agree on anything, but I do appreciate that the kind words. But listen, this is, of course, the wrestling podcast that isn't about wrestling, but is about pro wrestling fans. And Courtney, you, just briefly, we do have to touch on a little bit of wrestling here just to kind of give everyone a brief little rundown of your kind of take on wrestling. But how long have you been a wrestling fan for, and what's kind of kept you involved in wrestling?
I've been a wrestling fan since I was a little baby. And I saw Macho Man and Liz get married. And it just caught my eye, and I was enamored with it. I was enamored with, the sports aspect of it, because I've always been a tomboy. I've never really been a girly girl. Sure, I can dress up, but, 9 times out of 10, I'm in a wrestling t-shirt and yoga pants, and I'm good. Just the story of it all and just the grandeur and everything, like it's just amazing. And, more present day, like I kind of, was getting disenchanted with wrestling for a little while about 8 years ago when, WWE really wasn't doing that greatly, like, as far as like creatively and everything else. And so I would start watching Ring of Honor. And then on Ring of Honor, they had this match with Nigel McGuinness and Naomichi Marufuji. And that's the moment that I fell in love with pure Resu, or Japanese professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And I tape traded, I Google Drived, I did everything that I could to get, New Japan and whatever I could, because back then we didn't have New Japan World. We had to rely on tape trading and everything else. Like the people that have New Japan World right now, you are so freaking blessed that you don't have to go through the hoops that we did. But to present day, I'm really into, of course, New Japan, Stardom, Ring of Honor, Impact. My favorites are, I would have to say maybe Gorillas of Destiny, of course. Jay White, of freaking course. Killer Cross and Impact, that I still think it's a sin that he's not in New Japan. Sumiri Natsu in Stardom. Scarlet Bordeaux. And Minoru Suzuki is my spiritual father. and I love him. So, that pretty much tells you a little bit about me. Like, I've been a Bullet Club fan since the very beginning, since it was Spale and Devitt. And to see just how amazing it has turned out. Like now Bullet Club is everywhere you go. You go in Hot Topic, you can get a Bullet Club shirt. You know, it's just insane how things have taken off for them. And it's so gratifying. Like when you're a fan from the beginning and you know that this is something special and you see it come to fruition and the way it has, it's just the most gratifying, most feel good, heartwarming, fuzzy feeling you get. And I'm just really passionate about wrestling. Like I think about it all the time. Like I'm like, okay, maybe if they did this instead of doing this, like I get into Omega Luke fantasy booking mode. Like, okay, if we do this and do this and do this, and people around me are just looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm the same. You're speaking my language right now. Trust me. And you know, I can tell even just anyone that's listening to this that follows Courtney on Twitter or is just listening to this, you obviously you love wrestling, and that is why we started chatting, of course. But you know, we were discussing, you know, coming on, diving in, and we're like, what else do you kind of love to be passionate about and just love, I guess, to love? And we kind of decided that I think this is just universal with everybody. Everybody loves music. I love music. You will explain your love for music as well, but in a kind of way, how do you? What would you describe music as to you? What does music mean to you?
Music is therapy for me. Like I can be having the shittiest day, and you know, like there's, you know, like some songs that I'll listen to and they can just like make you instantly happy. And they make you, and some of them actually allow you or remind you to allow yourself to just breathe and like everything is going to be okay. And, you know, music is like this magical, universal thing that, you know, like you post your Spotify listening all the time. And I think it's amazing because it brings us closer together, because then I'm sitting here saying like, oh my God, I love that too. And so then, you know, it makes the bonds between friends stronger. And, you know, like I would be lost without it. Yeah. Like, you know, like there are some days like where just the stress is like at an all-time high. And I'm like, okay, now it's time to put on some really happy stuff, some, you know, like old school Britney Spears, you know, Backstreet Boys, you know, something to, you know, like kind of zone out and just forget the world exists for a little while.
Yeah, I 100% preach what you're saying. So today on Diving In it is the music special that I've been alluding to for a long time, that I've wanted to do it. Music. We're going to talk our favorite kinds of music, what we kind of grew up listening to, and whatever else comes to our brains during this chat. But Courtney, when you were a kid, were you influenced by your parents a lot with music? Was it something you found on your own? What were you listening to as a kid?
As a kid, my mom, she loved Mariah Carey. She loved Boys to Men. She loved, you know, like that R&B type hip hop. We were always listening to like adult contemporary, top 40. So pretty much anything that's like 90s pop or 90s adult contemporary, I was basically raised on that. And then she met my dad, and my dad was really into country music. And so like we would listen to country music, of course. I'm from Louisiana, from the South in the States. So that's kind of standard operating procedure around here. So, but I eventually did discover more stuff. I discovered metal through Marilyn Manson when I was in I want to say like in middle school. And, you know, like that flipped my world upside down, because I was like, holy shit, there's this rock music and it's freaking amazing. It's angry. It's just like me, like, because I got bullied a lot and like I stayed angry all the time. So it was like it was speaking my language. And like now, present day, it's just a little bit of everything. Like I can go from classical to jazz to R&B to rap, metal, pop, you name it. Like I can listen to it.
That's a good thing too, because a lot of people, they're like, you can't listen to this, you can't listen to this. I've always been one that's just, I don't really see genre in music. I just kind of listen. Music is music. Whatever I kind of like, I like. But for me, growing up, it was, I wouldn't say it was completely similar to you, but just in the same vein, it was kind of whatever was on the radio, where top 40 pop and just that kind of, I grew up on a lot of, I'm a little bit younger than you, but I grew up on a lot of Britney, and I grew up on a lot of NSYNC and that kind of time period of my parents. And my dad loved like new wave 80s music. He was all about like every synth you think of. It was just, that was what was in my household, my mom and my dad. So I mean, I grew up on a lot of that. And I don't know, I guess as a kid, you do just kind of listen to whatever's on TV or whatever's on the radio as a kid. But it's probably pretty safe to say you and me both probably would have found our kind of music vibe in our teens. I think that's kind of where everyone finds what they kind of grow into in their teens. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, because really it solidified my love for rock and hard rock and metal, because when I was in, I want to say in high school, that's when like the whole emo thing came about, where you had like AFI, you had Paramore, you had, Taking Back Sunday, you had all of these really cool, like Panic at the Disco,
My Chemical Romance,
Fall Out Boy, you just had it all. And like, I loved that stuff. Like I loved it. I had a crush on Pete from Fall Out Boy like no other. And then I had a crush on Davey Havok from AFI, which is kind of ironic because then later on in life, Jimmy Havoc is basically, coming out to I Hope You Suck. And he has the last name Havoc, but the only thing is he changed the K to a C. And I'm like, and it bled out. It was kind of like one of those bleed over moments, like where, holy crap. But it did. It kind of solidified it. Like I'm more rock based, but nowadays, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what, but like I want to listen to everything. Like nothing is off limits.
Yeah. Oh no, I get you, because in my teenage years, I was very much similar to you. My favorite band of all time, even to this day, is Paramore. I love everything Paramore do. I'm just that fan. But through like going into high school and mid-teens, that would be what I'd listen to, a lot of Paramore and My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy. It was all that. And then as I've gotten kind of I'm 23 now, and in the last couple of years, I've been like, I've just kind of let loose and I'll listen to whatever. I like to appreciate music for what it is, whatever emotion it brings out of you. And it is a lot of like 80s music, 70s music, a lot of 90s rap. It is a lot of that. Listen, you've seen my Spotify playlist. It's a little bit of everything. I'll listen to whatever kind of just hits me in my ear. I know this is going to be really hard to explain, but to you, what makes a song a good song?
To me, it's something that it has to touch you in your heart and your soul, and it has to make you feel something. It has to make you, it has to basically touch you in some way that, like some others don't. Because, like, there's a lot of music on the radio that's like, it's very almost plastic and manufactured.
It's overproduced.
but when you
Yeah.
have something that's raw and real and it makes you feel like that to me is music. Like something that makes me feel something in my soul. Like if it makes me feel like really happy, or like if it really touches my heart and it makes me, like if it's a sad song and
Yeah.
it makes you cry, or sometimes it's a really happy song and it can make you happy cry. Like different things like that. Like it's just, to me it has to touch my soul, because if it doesn't, to me it's just something that a producer put together
It's just
just so they could have
noise.
something on top 40.
It's just noise if it doesn't. And music has evolved. I mean, so much. If you just go through any kind of era and generation, music has evolved, and whatever else it may be. When we think of, like, you mentioned, Britney Spears and that form of pop music and stuff like that, and I think, at least in my head with other people, is that there's a negative stigma against pop music. I actually think, as much as I love rock and hip hop and whatever else, I don't think that, like, I think some of that negative stigma on pop music is unwarranted. Because there is great pop music. I like, there's a lot over the years that I absolutely love and adore, and there is great pop songs. Where do you think that kind of stems from? If you've experienced that with other people, do you think there is a negative stigma against pop music?
I think that there is, and I think it's a lot to do with, the whole thing of, like pop is very sugary. It's very, it's very almost plastic in a way.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And I can see how people would feel that way and think that it's, not coming from a genuine place of sincerity. And it's just, something to sing along to, and it's not really much there. But there, to me, pop music is absolutely beautiful. Like right now, I'm on an Aussie kick like no other. I'm listening to Delta Goodrem, to Savage Garden,
Oh,
and
speaking my language.
Like, and like those songs are so beautiful. Like In This Life by Delta Goodrem is just amazing and beautiful.
Yeah.
Because like I can relate to that song, because like she's like talking about, like, basically like how she survived to be in this guy's life, and
Yeah.
knowing what she went through personally, and me being able to personally relate to that, like, because I was really sick too, and everything, like it's amazing, and it's beautiful, and it's coming from a place of love, and it's coming from a place of life experience. And like I was saying, Savage Garden, Truly Madly Deeply has got to be one of the most beautiful love songs I have ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
And it's pop. And it's not pop. It's not, old school back in the day, like Frank Sinatra jazz and whatnot, but it's beautiful. Like the lyrics, like, I want to stand with you in the mountain. I want to bathe with you in the sea. Like, holy crap, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
And, like, just, I've got to say, like, me going to Australia at this point is a must, because, like, I've been hanging around a lot of Aussies on Twitter, and they've been teaching me Aussie slang and stuff, and I'm learning it, and I'm dropping it.
Hell yeah.
And they're like, she's one of us. like the other day, me and Ash on Twitter, like, we were talking about Australia, and I just went, bloody oath, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi.
Damn.
And she was like, what?
It's so weird to hear someone from the States know who Delta Goodrem is. That blew my mind, as I think I said to you on Twitter. But it did, because she's ours, and she never really made it big internationally, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for 2008, In This Life hit over here,
Yeah.
And it was big on VH1. It was big on MTV over here. And I thought for sure, I was like, this girl is going to be huge. She's going to be amazing, you know. And it just, and for some reason, I'm sorry, America, you just don't have good taste because Delta Goodrem freaking rock.
It is. Everyone was saying she's the next kind of Kylie Minogue. She's going to be the one to, go to the States and make it big. And it never happened. And hey, I guess some things aren't meant to be. We get her on The Voice every year, so I'm fine with that. I get to see Delta every year. But you brought up lyrics, and I don't know, with me personally, it'll probably be different for every person, but when you hear a song for the first time, say you got a brand new album or a brand new single and you're ready to hear it from somebody, and do you hear music or lyrics first? What kind of hits you first?
To me, this is kind of like a little girl in the taco commercial, why not both thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
like to me, it's first, like if that first riff really hits hard or especially in rock or that beat hits hard in pop or whatever, like that'll hook me in. But then I sit there and I do listen to lyrics. I listen to what it says because I'm a person that's always looking for deeper meaning in things, and if I can sit there and listen to a song and it's, about love or about heartbreak, and I can, feel that pain, through those lyrics. And also it's in the performance too, because, you listen to Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, and you hear it in her voice, you hear that emotion, it's amazing. And it gives me chills just even thinking about it. Just that there's a lot of things for me. Like I don't just sit there and just say there's one qualifier for something to hook me in. It's just it's kind of a gradual build. It's first the opening beats have hooked me in. Now the lyrics have hooked me in. Now the emotion, and it builds, and then I'm like, oh my God, I love this.
Yeah. It is, music is I just think a wonderful, it is, like you said, it's an escape, it's therapy. I've heard so many people say that, and that's not a knock on anyone, it's just the fact that it is universally that for so many different people. Music can make so many situations better or whatever it may be, just enhance the situation in so many things. And I think when we talk about, we listen to music in our adult life differently to how we listen to music as a kid, and I guess music has always been the kind of constant, at least in my life, it's just always kind of there. There's always something new, there's always something you can go back to. But when you think of, music enhancing a situation, I kind of mean it in the sense of it can make a television show better, it can make a movie better. In your mind, how do you think music accompanies those other forms of entertainment as movies and TV? Do you think that music, it can make or break those kind of scenes in a movie or scenes in a television show?
It can. If there's a good soundtrack or a good score to a film, it adds to it. I know Pearl Harbor isn't everybody's favorite, but the score in that is just gorgeous, and it just adds to the beauty of the cinematography and everything, and it just adds to it. And one iconic song that I can think of, and one iconic scene from my favorite movie that I've seen the most times out of any other movie on this planet, Dirty Dancing, and the final dance scene with Time of My Life.
It is iconic.
It's beautiful because, you're seeing this love story, come to fruition, and you're seeing, the lyrics of I've had the time of my life because baby had the time of her life that summer, right?
Yeah.
So, it adds to it, and it just makes it even more beautiful. And now, like, anytime, like, we get to the part where I owe it all to you, like, I do the thing like from the movie, and it's become synonymous with the song.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot with movies. And like, I definitely think it can add to it. Now, if you put something that really doesn't go and it doesn't fit and it's not a good fit, then that's when you get the cringe and the yikes.
Oh yeah.
But most of the time they knock it out the park.
Oh no, I agree with you completely. It can make or break a movie scene. This is obviously this is a little bit of a different style of movie, and I think Disney movies as a kid, even now, they are so many Disney films go with music hand in hand. You think of movies like Moana and Frozen, and even like older movies, and whatever it may be. Are you a Disney fan?
Yes, like, I actually posted on Twitter not too long ago. I was like I was having like a really stressful day, and I was like, you know what? It's time to pump some Disney jams. And like, I'm listening to Zero to Hero, Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Oh,
I Just Can't Wait to Be King. Colors of the Wind.
Whole New World. You better say Whole New World.
A Whole New World.
Yes.
I love that stuff, because that stuff, it kind of takes you back to that inner child a little bit, and it kind of reminds you that, hey, life isn't supposed to be so serious all the time, and that you can, laugh and cut up and joke around, and that is amazing. Like, I actually tweeted, like, Disney songs are some of the best stress relievers on planet Earth.
Disney can captivate you. It does make you feel like a kid again, and everyone loves to feel like a kid. I think that's why we watch wrestling so much, is because we watched it as kids, and it makes us feel, we crave those moments where you feel like you're 10 years old, watching a Disney movie or watching a wrestling match, whatever it may be, and music does go hand in hand with that, and hey, Disney songs can make you sad too. A lot of Disney music can invoke all different kinds of emotions. I always post about this on Twitter. You can chime away at this after I say it as well, but that scene in Toy Story 2 when Sarah McLachlan plays When She Loved Me, and Jessie gets left by her previous owner in the bush somewhere. Man, I cry all the time when I see that or when I hear that song. It's so sad.
It is. It's just like, it hurts your heart.
Yeah.
And like, because you're like, no, don't leave her.
Yeah.
Don't leave her like that. No.
And Sarah McLachlan's just playing, and you're like, oh, this is heartbreaking.
It's like the commercial. Like, I don't know if y'all have it in the States, or not in the States, in Australia. But here in the States, we have a commercial for the ASPCA that is basically they take in abused animals and they rehab.
Yes, we do. I know
in the
where you're going. Yep.
Like, it's kind of that same exact thing, but in a Disney movie. And every time it kills me. Like, I'll have to change the channel when those commercials come on, because I get so sad, because I don't just love animals. I love animals.
Yeah.
Like, I love animals more than most people.
Me too.
So it's like, no, I can't do this to myself. Not my feels.
Not right now. Like,
yeah. And there's also another Disney song that, for me personally, as growing up as a girl in the South, who has always been a more, politically wise, like a little bit more on the liberal side, a little bit more of a free spirit, like growing up in a very conservative Christian upbringing and surroundings.
Yeah.
Like you felt like I felt like I had to hide really who I was for a long time. And so the song Reflection, like, that song always makes me cry, because I feel it. Like, I feel that. Like I don't want to be, just, like whatever you think I should be, like I want to be me. And that one always gets me. Like, I'll be watching it and people looking at me like, what's wrong with her? Why is she crying? Do you need some tissues, honey?
It is. I really love that we went down this kind of rabbit hole of emotions that music can make you feel. Also, music can bring back memories that, you associate certain times with friends or family or heartbreak or whatever it may be with music. And, the same way photos do is the same way that music does with me, is invoking that in your brain and being like, hey, I remember when this happened, I was listening to this song, and whatever emotion it brings from that. Do you think that music is, I don't want to say better therapy, but do you almost think that music is more of your own way of dealing with whatever's going on in your life at that current time?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's a coping mechanism, because there are some days like where like if I'm in a really angry mood, like I'm listening to metal because I need someone who relates to me, because like when you get angry, like people have in this world, like, yeah, you're supposed to be positive and everything else, but it's okay to have negative emotions. And people have kind of, made having anger or sadness a bad thing. And to me, that just means that you're a human and that you feel emotion. And so when you have someone else that can relate to that, like when you're really mad or you're really sad, like it really is reassuring to know that, hey, I'm not alone in this. Like, I felt this before. Like me personally, I'm not a Christian. I do believe that there is a God, but I'm not sure what it is. And, like my mom is always, cramming the Christian stuff down my throat and like, you're going to go to hell and everything else.
Yeah.
And every time after I have those conversations with my mom, it's straight to Marilyn Manson, Antichrist Superstar. Like just let it out, just like scream the lyrics. My neighbors probably think I'm going insane, but
I already know that my neighbors think I'm insane with some of the stuff I listen to.
Oh, they think I'm insane because I'm yelling at and this happened recently, like I was screaming when Jay won the IWGP title, and this is like early in the morning, and they're probably all thinking, okay, either an axe murderer broke in and they're trying to kill her, or she's just having one of her crazy moments again.
Oh yeah, because you watch New Japan at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, like our shows, like here recently with Super Juniors, it's been 4:30 in the morning. And
that's early.
Yeah, and basically at this point, my body kind of, because of Twitter and because of social media, I have friends in Australia, I have friends in New Zealand, in Japan, in Russia, in Europe, in the UK, in Canada, everywhere. So like I'm talking to these people like all the time from across the world. So my body has kind of weirdly adapted to it, to a way where, like I can get away with getting 4 hours of sleep and I'm good. And it's just, it's amazing. And speaking about music, like in wrestling anyway, like there are some theme songs that are just beautiful, know?
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
Like
yeah.
Devil Sky, the Kenny Omega theme that he used to have, that was amazing. It fit him to a T, and that's one thing that, music adds to as well. And, getting back to the whole coping mechanism thing, like me, And here's where the whole Jay White thing came in, because I was really sick and suicidal for a number of years up until early last year. And that was around the time that Jay came back from excursion with Switchblade and was talking about breathing with the Switchblade. And then one night, for some reason, like, I was just really upset, and I was like, okay, life isn't worth living. I'm done. And this is the bone chilling part. The song is called Breathe 2 a.m. by Anna Nolick. And it was 2 a.m. I'm crying, and that came on my YouTube autoplay.
Oh,
and
wow.
then I was like, holy crap. And then and so then every time that, Jay would say, like, breathe with the Switchblade, it became a reminder to just breathe and everything is going to be okay. And it really got me through. And that's one of those moments of where, music can actually save your life sometimes. And that's one of those things that where I'm like, I know that there's a God somewhere, but, whoever you are, thank you for that, because, my life has gotten a lot better. And I'm a big mental health care advocate. And like, if anybody's listening to this and, you're struggling, just know that I struggled for years. And it got better. It can get better. It's the permanent solution to a problem that's not going to be permanent is not the way.
Yeah.
And, and music can help people with that. Music can help people when they're having those really sad nights and everything else. Like, it helped with me. And it's a beautiful thing. And music is just this beautiful, amazing thing that we're gifted with. And, there are some people out there that don't appreciate music as much. And I'm like, how the hell can you not?
Yeah, I agree completely. First and foremost, thank you for sharing that. That's very open and kind of you to do that for anyone listening. If anyone is going through that kind of stuff, I've been very open about my experiences with that, and I've had people on Diving in previous episodes talk about that kind of stuff. So my DMs are always open, as well as yours, Courtney, I believe, to talk whenever, even if it's just not even about it, just talk in general. Always say hello. I'm always here.
Yeah, because sometimes, you just need somebody to talk to, and it can be about nothing. It can be about the weather. It can be about wrestling. It can be about what we're talking about now. It can be about music.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big advocate of, like, Mauro Ranallo kind of inspired me with this, with his Smash the Stigma campaign. I can't really say it because it's a tongue twister. But, about being honest and being open with your struggles and not being scared to be open and to reach out to others and make change and help, because especially in our country where we don't have free healthcare, and, therapy is very expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Getting the meds is very expensive. And, like, because I survived, I kind of know that I'm here for a reason, and that if my DMs being open, like, sure, I'm going to put up with the guys, I'm going to put up with the interesting DMs, but they're worth it because I will be able to help someone, Yeah. Like, I've already done it. I've already helped like 2 or 3 people. And to me, that is worth its weight in gold. It's priceless. And, my, like Josh said, my DMs are open, and I'm a big advocate for, looking out for everybody and not leaving those behind that are in pain or suffering mentally, because with mental, it's different because with your body, you know, like you can go and you can get like Advil or you can get something and it goes away. But with depression and anxiety and mental illness, it can take years for you to figure out your meds. It can take years for you to figure out what either cognitive therapy or talk therapy, whatever it is going to help, you know? So I've always been, ever since like about this time last year, I kind of decided, I said, you know what, you're going to use whatever platform you have and you're going to use it for good and you're going to use it for this, because you weren't allowed to, you didn't survive this for you to just sit here and do nothing with it.
Yeah. No, definitely. It is a very, I mean, I had my struggles. I won't rehash my story too much. I've said it a few times, but coming out of it, I mean, you can attest to this, you never really come completely out of it. It's still always going to be, I think it will be there in some way, shape, or form for the rest of my life. But, you know, in terms of, you know, just helping others, it does, listen, you kind of touched on it at the start of the show. I am somewhat, I guess, I've been perceived, and I will happily wear it, as a pretty positive person on Twitter. I still have my moments like any normal human being, but I just try to see the light in life, because it's gotten dark for me as well. So I just kind of see it differently, and I don't know, I don't tend to sweat the small stuff, I guess, anymore. But you go on.
Like I have this phrase: there is enough hate and darkness in the world. Why not choose to flip the script and bring love and light in the world instead? And that's my philosophy on life, is, you know, bring love and light. Like, don't, like, you know, like, yeah, like I have criticisms and stuff of, you know, different wrestling companies and whatnot, but, you know, like, it's not coming from a place of hate. It's coming from a place of, I want you to do better.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just how I am. And I'm not going to change it. Sorry.
Oh, me too. I'm the same. I'm fairly positive, and I can kind of take the good out of anything. But I mean, listen, I watch WWE every week. I can see shit's not great. So I mean, it is nice to be that way.
Yeah, it's not great, but hey, you can be iconic.
Ah, you're winning me over here.
Hey, I you. I'm the one that sends the tweet out when the iconics come out.
You do. You always check on me to make sure I'm breathing and make sure I'm okay, because sometimes it can get a little, I believe you even tweeted me when they won at WrestleMania, and I had a lot of tweets in that moment because I was hyperventilating in that moment. Holy crap. But anyway, back to what we were kind of talking about in music and stuff like that, and you know, in relation to what I was going to kind of touch on here is that music has been around for as long as we know, as time goes, whatever. But when you think of classic, iconic songs, what are some songs that come to your brain personally?
Classic, iconic songs, basically anything by Frank Sinatra, because his music is timeless. It's classic. Anything by the Beatles. Also, Janis Joplin, A Piece of My Heart. That is just iconic and just raw. I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston, of course.
Yeah.
From the world of metal, I guess, like, Enter Sandman, because, like, that's everywhere.
Yeah, that
is. In the Air Tonight, Phil Collins, that is iconic. It just gave me one more time.
Oh, see, you know what I love about this kind of conversation is that music is so subjective. Everyone likes something different. And when I think of iconic, you were saying like Beatles and Metallica and what it may be, my head immediately goes to songs like No Scrubs by TLC and Hungry Like the Wolf by Duran Duran and what else? Stuff. My head goes in, I guess not a different place to you, but it just it's so, everyone's so different, and they all have that. No one would ever completely have the same answer to that question, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, that's what makes us as human beings beautiful, because every human being is different, and we're all our own unique shade on the prism spectrum of the rainbow. And if we were all the same, we would all be like the same monochromatic gray shade, and it's not, like, that's not fun. What's fun is us having different ideas and different opinions and different thoughts on things. So, and like you were saying TLC, and I was like, how the frick did you forget Waterfalls?
Ooh, Waterfalls is a great. I'm a No Scrubs guy. No Scrubs to me is better than Waterfalls. Is that controversial? I'm not sure.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Yeah, it is a little,
I don't
controversial.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just like, again, personal preference. But I mean, I know this is probably a question that's very hard to answer, because it's hard to answer for me, but what is your favorite song of all time, if you have one?
My favorite song of all time. This is a tough one, because I'm a Libra and we're indecisive, and we end up just saying why not everything all the time. But I would have to say the song that brings me the most happiness and the most joy would probably be, I mentioned it earlier, Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing, because that song, anytime it comes on, I start acting like I know how to dance in the house, like trying to do like the steps and stuff and everything, and it instantly elevates my mood. So Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing has got to be my favorite of all time.
Ooh, it's a good choice. Okay, and this is, a lot of people will be like, they're your two favorite, like, I have two, but a lot of people are going to be like, they're your two favorite songs of all time, so it is what it is. But I always go to Last Hope by Paramore, just for personal reasons. It is a very touching song, and it just hits me every time. And Year 3000 by Busted.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, because it's whatever makes you happy.
Yeah,
it's whatever can take your mood and flip it on its head and make it good again. It's whatever, or whatever, touches you personally, or you have a personal, attachment to it.
Yeah.
It's really what it is. And like another one that's, really big for me is, what is it? It's the Fight Song by Marilyn Manson.
Oh yes.
Like, just, growing up, in an oppressive Christian environment, like, you relate to that so much. So it's just, you feel it. and there, there's so many other songs, like, I can't even think of them. One of them that's a good one is Pet by a Perfect Circle. That one is really good. Like, like the whole reassurance of, just go back to sleep and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
That one's awesome. Like, there's so many. Like I said, I'm a Libra, and we will pick everything. We will be like, we're so indecisive, we cannot make a choice, so why not have everything?
Hey, I'm a Sagittarius, so I am hot-headed, so don't worry. Let's have a little fun with this. hypothetically, okay, we're at a party. You get the iPhone. You get to go on one song on Spotify. What is your go-to song to just liven up the party?
Um, this is gonna be funny, but my favorite one to go to is Get Low.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that one, like you play that and everybody is just going to start dancing and they're just going to have a good time and let loose. Like for some reason that song brings out the party animal in everybody.
Oh, it does. Man, woman, child, it does. It does. That is a very good choice. I think mine will it might not surprise you, but mine's "Wannabe" by the Spice Girls. I mean,
Oh yeah.
everybody knows that song. Everybody knows the words to that song. You can't hate that song. I don't think is it possible to hate that song, like purely hate it?
I mean if maybe it was playing when you broke up with a boyfriend or something,
Yeah.
I guess,
Hey,
but
yeah.
but I don't know. I don't know how you could hate that. Like it's so happy and so peppy.
And
Like
it's just very gets everyone, whether people are cringing at it or whether people are like, oh, this song. Deep down, I feel like man, woman, child are gonna love that song.
yeah.
It's just a very it is just, yeah, it is just, that'd be my number one pick for that. Let's you've probably heard of this game, a little word association, where I give you a word and you think of the first thing that comes to your brain. We're gonna do it with some songs and with some artists, and just kind of give me the thing that comes off the top of your head. Cool with that? Alrighty, so the first one, because it's always gonna be one that's gonna have some opinions. Taylor Swift.
Ex-boyfriend.
Honestly, I like that answer. Let's go with let's see. Oops, I did it again.
Mars. Because the music video.
The
Like they're
music
on
video,
Mars.
yep. Oh, that's a good answer. I like that. Let's go with Gwen Stefani.
Holla back, girl.
Classic. It is a classic now. It's fairly old now. That's probably close to 15 years old, isn't it? Oh boy.
I know.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh man. Oh wow. Let's go Metallica.
Sandman.
Good answer. Let's see. The Jackson 5.
Um, 1, 2, 3. Cause
Uh,
it's easy.
yeah,
One,
yeah.
two.
I get you. I get you. Let's go with. Let's see. I'm trying to think of a. All right. Let's get into some modern stuff. Ariana Grande.
There's a reason why I'm laughing and I'm not gonna say it, but breathing. And I'll let your mind go where it needs to.
I will. I'll let it just go to something, and let's never talk about it, and let me just assume. All right. Well, that was a nice little game to play because it just gets you. Hey, the purpose of this episode, as we're kind of winding down here, as the purpose with any diving in episode, is to kind of let people know, members of the wrestling community that we interact with, that we don't know, we do know. There is other sides to us, and I think it's important that we are, more than just one thing in this world. And wrestling is beautiful and wonderful, and it's why we all talk, but we do have different dimensions, and I'm glad that we were able to have this. I think music was the perfect first chat to have. I'm sure we could talk about wrestling for hours and hours, Courtney, but I feel like this was a good kind of get to know each other session.
Yeah, it really was. Like, I feel like I know you a lot better now.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, it is great to, get to, let people see that other side of you, like that's not wrestling, because we are multidimensional beings by nature. And, it's amazing to get to see that, like I was listening to, I can't remember whose it was, because I listen to so many podcasts, they blur together.
Yeah.
But like I was listening to one of your shows and I thought it was amazing because I was like, I just learned something about this person. Like I didn't know, and it's a great way to, kind of, get to know me a little bit better, get to know you a little bit better, or, the people listening to get to know us better, because now they're going to get to know you better based off of music and me at the same time. So you're killing two birds with one stone. So it's a win-win situation all around.
Yeah, that's the kind of point of this show. It is, I've had different episodes. So with diving in, what I kind of like with diving in is that I can record these episodes and kind of release them whenever. They're not really dated or timed, and that's what I kind of love. So we've only had at this point 4 episodes released in the time of this recording. But the beauty of it is that I've had so many conversations with so many different people about so many different kinds of topics, and I'm just excited to release them and to let people know that we, like you said, we are multi-dimensional beings. And I think that's important because even with this conversation with you now, I've thought of 5 or 6 other things that I know we could revisit and talk about on other diving in episodes. Obviously, I know that we can talk about wrestling a lot, which is I love. So I'm just excited that we got to do this, and I thank you for thank you for coming on. I truly mean it and appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today and kind of being open and honest about everything, as well as talking about music. But this is the chance at the end of the show, like any gracious host, please put yourself over. Where can we find you? What's kind of coming up in the world of Courtney?
What's coming up in the world of Courtney right now is I'm currently in trip prep mode because I'm going to night 1 of the G1 in Dallas for New Japan. Also, I have my own podcast called Talking Strong Style with the Switch Babe. That's basically, it covers all the world of wrestling. Whatever catches my eye that week, I'll cover it. Like, I really don't have a strict formula, like everybody covers the same thing. Like, because I found that in wrestling podcasting, it's like everybody is covering the same thing, and you listen to like one wrestling podcast, and everybody is covering the same thing, and everybody is saying the same thing, and it runs together. So what I chose to do is like pick the things that I really like and cover that, and go with that. And I don't have to be dictated by a news cycle. Like, well, today I will be, because a certain John Moxley went on Jericho's podcast, and now my whole show format that I have for tomorrow has been flipped on its head. But, like I love doing that. I love it, doing something a little bit different, like standing out from the crowd, because, if you don't stand out from the crowd, then who else is? And, you can find me on Twitter. I have a personal Twitter. It's at AXIMILI55. And I also have my podcast account where I just strictly promote, the show or really cool things that happen with, like my favorites in the business or stuff like that, at Switchbabe Pod. And you can also find me at that same handle, Switchbabe Pod. You can find me on Instagram as well. On Instagram, I love to post like affirmations and, like a daily affirmation message and stuff like that. Like I love, doing that and just, putting a little bit of love and light in somebody's life, because, you never know if someone may need it. Like I've had some people like you say, like, I needed that today. Thank you. And I'm like, no problem. All I got to do is just go to repost and repost it. So, although my Instagram game has been kind of crappy lately, I've got to get back up on that. But yeah, that's what's coming up for me, and I'm just looking to, grow my audience and maybe, turn this into something that could turn into, maybe opportunities,
Yeah.
like, cause I know if you have a podcast, like there's a good chance for you to work with Access in New Japan, and like for me to get backstage presser access is the dream. So that's a goal. But
it's good to have goals. I love the fact that you said that, because it is good to have goals with whatever you do.
Yeah. But that's about all that's happening with me. Besides watching wrestling, staying up till all hours of the night for New Japan during the tournament, which right now we're in the last week of that's the Super Juniors. And I'm kind of like almost at Mad Queen Danny levels of insanity at this point. But yeah, if I'm not hanging out with my cats, I'm normally on Twitter, and like I said, open DM policy. If you ever need anything, if you're having a bad night or a bad day, or you just need to just shoot the shit and talk about whatever you need to talk about, hit me up. Just do not send me unwarranted dick pics. That's all I ask.
Hey, that's all we all ask. I again, thank you very much. All of Courtney's links and stuff will be in the description. So just scroll down or swipe down wherever you are, or whatever device you're listening on. All of her information along with mine will be down there. And like Courtney said, I'm the same. If I ain't hanging out with my dog or my cat, I'm on Twitter talking about wrestling. So that's where you can find me. I appreciate everyone listening to this musical episode of Diving In, and we'll catch you guys next time on Diving In with Josh. Peace out. I want to thank Courtney for coming on here today on Diving In with Josh. It has been, music was one of the first topics I thought about when I wanted to do Diving In. I believe I even said it in my intro first, in the introductory episode a few episodes ago, whenever this one kind of drops. Music is so powerful and so amazing, and it's just a big part of so many people's lives. I wanted to get that out to the world. I've been putting, this thread is going to go forever and ever and ever. I've just been screenshotting whatever song I'm listening to on Spotify at whatever given point of my day. And I don't know why I like doing that, but, I get a few likes here and there. I got a few people saying, hey, I love that song too. It's just a way to connect with other people, and I really appreciate, appreciate's the wrong word. I really love doing that. But that is the kind of stuff that I like to talk about. I like to talk about many different things, and Courtney was the same, and so open to not seeing genre, and I love that. I don't see genre with music. I just see music. Music is music. Whatever you like, you like. It's subjective. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly end this kind of episode of Diving In with Josh. Just kind of say I love music, and anyone that wants to chat about music is more than welcome. I can do multiple episodes of Diving In with Josh on music. So, until next time, I appreciate the listen, and please follow me on Twitter at JoshRobinson00, Instagram Josh Robinson Host. You can find me on Twitch, and you can find me on YouTube Josh Robinson00. That's where you'll find most of my stuff. Please give this podcast 5 stars on iTunes. Wherever you're listening this to, I appreciate the listen, and I appreciate the love for all of the episodes of Diving In. And please catch Wrestling Reverb, a part of Brainbuster Radio, every single Friday. And I'll catch you guys next time on Diving In with Josh. Peace out.